You can't tell anyone about it, she said? No, that's not what she's saying. She's saying that the government put in place a period called the period of indigenous people. And that started in 1992. And it ends in the year 2000. And a lot of people don't even know that because they only passed it, you know, to certain people. Now, the problem is the false promise of 40 acres and a mule was done before we populated to the point where if they gave us 40 acres, there'd be no more acreage. And they don't have that many mules. So what they do is, if you are a nation of people, not like I said last night, not when you say we're a nation of 5% or we're a nation of Islam, that's a religious nation that has nothing to do with setting up your government as Native Americans. You follow what I'm saying? So when you go before Washington that links into the international state, there's a government other than the government of this country, all right, where the League of Nations was set up. The League of Nations preceded the United Nations. And when the United Nations was set up, the League of Nations are countries that said, I just don't want to be a part of that. I'm not interested in trying to control everybody's mind. This is what the so-called New World Order is about, trying to get everybody in the state of, under one type of mentality. And we as Native Americans are not interested in your form of government. I respect your form of government for you, but it doesn't apply to me. For instance, if I was a Muslim, correct, born and raised a Muslim, how can I function in America properly if the Quran says I can have 4 wives and America says that's a violation of the law? If it tells me that I'm not allowed to use usury, which means I can't make a profit, how can I invest and survive when Islam tells me I can't make a profit? So it is wise for Muslims to live in Muslim countries where the Sharia, the fiqh, the laws that surround them work for them. So we as Native Americans, we have our own laws. We always have. And they came here where we were, your father, took our Constitution, thanks to the Iroquois who gave it to them, rewrote it and butchered us up. I'll get to your question now, because I just want to show you the picture. So what happens is, when you become wise enough to stand up and rectify all of their errors, their greatest fear is you making this everybody's problem. They're not interested in everybody. But if the people in Louisiana under the Empress of the Washita petition and they get it, and the people of the Shoshone and the Seminole won't petition. They're in another whole world. They don't petition to nobody. They're still at war, right? The Shinnecock petitioned, and several other tribes petitioned, and they got it. It's the tribes that won't petition, and it's not a plea, and it's not a request. It's a statement that the whole world knows and recognizes. So they're basically saying, if you want your indigenousness, just don't go around putting signs up to wake up every dumb nigger, or every dumb Caucasian, or every dumb Latino, and tell them, today you can become nation. And they all went in here just because they don't want to pay tax, or just because, and they're mad at the government. I'm not mad at America. America's mine. How can I be mad at it? You know what I'm saying? And we've been made psychologically to get mad at the country as if, you know what I'm saying, we're mad at the people. The country is not a people. The country is made up of people. And when we go back and start doing some research, we find out that the oldest faces found here are the Olmecs. And that the root of Olmec is El Melek. Right? When they get into, you go back to the language that the people, when you say the word Moor, don't get Moorish Science Temple of America and Moroccan Moors mixed up with Morenos, a term that the Latins used to describe the Olmecs. You follow what I'm trying to say? So what she was saying is, you don't go around telling everybody, see, I'm this, I'm a this, I'm a this, and you cause them to have to enact new laws. And they will put a law into effect knowing it's unconstitutional. You with me? Yeah. And then, after everybody adjusts to that law, then they'll come back in, remove it, and don't give it as much public as they did. For instance, the Brady Law is unconstitutional. The Constitution says you have the right to bear arms. It doesn't say you have the right to get an AK-47 and shoot people. It says you have a right to bear arms to protect your family. that live here, you follow that will attack you. Most people don't know that more people get killed by deers than car accidents. Because everybody's under the illusion that deers are Bambi. So they walk up to the deer, and the deer literally whips their ass. And literally whips you. But most city folk don't have no idea of the dangers of living in the woods. So you do need weapons to defend yourself. You don't need it in New York City or in Atlanta. Well, I guess you do. Because there's a different kind of deer walking around New York City and Atlanta. He just doesn't have antlers. He has an attitude. But actually, the Brady Law was torn down as of today. It's no longer in effect. Now think about that. When they passed it, they made us all hear it and know it. And if I went to buy a gun, I had to wait 6 days in a total investigation. But today, they introduced it that it's been pulled back, and they're not talking about it all over the place. Now the law to buy a gun is no longer in effect where they got to interview or have to go check it to the computer. Did they make that a big stink? No. See, that's the game they use. You have a right to petition a law against the Constitution, against anything, not you, anybody in this country. And they will consider that law and sometimes preemptively send that law through because it's best for the people for the moment. But then they have to come back when people who are strict to the Constitution say, well, according to such and such a Constitution, Article so-and-so, amending so-and-so and such, you don't have that right. And they go, okay, they just back off and they try something else. You have the right to tear up the flag, you know.
True.
You do have the right to tear up the flag. You don't have the right to burn it or spit on it. You know why you have a right to tear up the flag? Because the flag, if it becomes desecrated, dirty, or abused, then rather than have a raggedy, dirty flag flying, you have the right to take it down and destroy it. But you don't have the right to abuse the American flag, which is not the American flag, by the way. The red, white, and blue flag is not the American flag. Do you know that? The American flag is blue and white, and the lines are not horizontal, they're vertical. And in the upper left-hand corner is a box, and it has the Coast Guard symbol. That is the real American flag, and if you go research it, you'll find that that's called the peacetime flag. This flag flew during a war, and because this flag survived till the morning, and that's in an anthem that you say, you know what I'm talking about? What is it? Star Spangled Banner. That's when the war flag went into effect. That is not the flag of peace. That's the flag of war. And when they add the gold trimming on it, it becomes martial or strictly military. And should be in any courtroom you go into because you are a product of abuse by way of kidnapping. Not a slavery. You cannot be a slave because you're not Slavic. The word Slavic is the word slave. And there were Slavics who were enslaved. But there's no Slavics in this pavilion today. You understand? So you can't be a slave. So now, once we eliminate the use of the word slave, I ask again, so what was that situation that took place in the 14th, 15th, and 16th century? I need a new name for it, because slave does not apply to me. Bondage is a biblical term, and you separate religion from state, and I'm dealing with a state situation, so I'm not interested in the Bible in the 400 years or 430 years. That's religious rhetoric and has nothing to do with government, so bondage goes out the door. What did you do to me? Now, and let me get something straight, because most of you don't consider Portuguese white people. You follow that? You don't. You consider Portuguese, correct? And then you're mad at blonde-haired, blue-eyed people all the time. There's no history. Get this in your mind, please. There's no history, no facts ever of blonde-haired, blue-eyed people ever doing anything to you. But some man pushed blonde-haired, blue-eyed early in the 30s, and from then on, every time you're white, blue, or blonde-haired, blue-eyed devil. The Portuguese do not have blonde hair and blue eyes.
True.
Neither did John Hawkins. Neither did Prince Henry, the navigator. And neither did all of those people in Zanzibar who were Muslims, who were dark like you, who sold you. You are mad without a reason. get you off balance, to make you stop thinking, get you mad at another race, focus your attention in the wrong direction. All white people, there's all white. It's very convenient when you're insecure, because you don't want to stay in school, and you want to have a reason or a justification for your own failures, because you want to go party or hang out in a cafeteria, you know what I'm saying, or chase the girls, or listen to music, or do something, something that's worthless. So you have to justify when you didn't succeed, so you say, well, that's because there ain't no equal opportunity here. That's because the white man did this to me. And that ain't real. Otherwise, there'd be no Colin Powell. Well, Colin Powell was the devil. He wasn't born a devil. He had to work his way up there, didn't he? If he got up to the point where he could become the most sophisticated officer in the military in this country, don't tell me there's no place for you. Now, Clarence Thomas is a sellout. He had to get there to become the sellout. Wake up. So how did he get there? So why not get there and not be the sellout? Wouldn't that be a heck of a lot easier than standing back there talking about what he did wrong? So that's all part of a plot that we, as Nuwaupians, are going to change. See, they never heard the word Nuwaupian before. And that's what's important. Because had they heard the word Nuwaupian before, they wouldn't have to wait to ask you what does it apply to. You understand what I'm saying? When they hear Nuwaupian, they say to you, what is that? What's your religion? What do you all believe? And they want you to give them a dialogue. Well, God did this, or revolution this, or anti-government this, so that they can immediately classify you. Oh, I got it. You're a religious kind of guy. So what do you believe in? You believe in God? And when they throw out the word God, they want you to either say, no, I don't believe in God, I believe in Allah. And say, okay, Muslim. No, I don't believe in no God, I believe in Jehovah. Oh, Jehovah's Witness. No, I don't believe in no God, I believe in Yahweh. Oh, I see, Israelite. No, I don't believe in them. They're waiting for that so that they can classify you. When you say Anu, they go, who? And who? Who's that? Who's Anu? See, go back to Samaria, and because they never got a good grasp on Sumerian doctrine, they go, I don't understand. You said, what's Anu? You say, well, Anu, the Most High. Oh, the Most High God? No. So when you say the Most High God, oh, I see, okay. This God is a religious thing, all right. The reason why the elders gave you a word that they didn't know is because they're not supposed to know unless they ask you. And now the problem comes in with when they ask you, how do you answer? Are you going to answer correctly? Or are you going to go off because you're still mad because of the Islamic influence and the revolutionary of the 60s, so you still want to blame everything on white people? So are you going to go off, well, we the Nuwaupian more, and we the, us black folks are non-ether, are you going to get out there, your father, understand your teaching, and tell people? You know what I'm saying? We are the answer to your problem. You understand? You look in this room, like I said, this hip-hop is sitting up in this room that gave up hip-hop, not the music, but the culture, to find their way to Nuwaupu for a better thing. You know what I'm saying? And of course, people are not going to like you. I keep telling you this is very important. Muslims are going to hate me. Why? Because their whole objective is to make as many people Muslims as they can. They're so busy calling America the beast, talking about the New World Order, American Shaitan. They're doing the exact same thing. They want everybody to be Muslim. So if you want everybody to be Muslim, aren't you a New World Order also? If you want everybody to be Jehovah's Witness, aren't you just as much of the problem as the Illuminati, as you say, or any other group that's trying to make everybody what they are? I don't advocate love everybody. That's an illusion, and it causes confusion, and it just doesn't work. You can love and you can hate. That's balance. You like and you dislike. That's balance. You don't drink all hot liquids, and you don't drink all cold liquids. There's a time to drink hot liquids, and there's a time to drink cold liquids. There's a time to love, and there's a time to hate. God hates. If you got to be religious, if he didn't hate, he wouldn't have blew up them cities. You have to blow up a whole city and kill thousands of people, you can't like them. you got to go forth right and exact. You know what I'm saying? Getting rid of the crap, because the stats was holding everybody back. You follow? Anybody else got a question? Yeah. Talk to me.
My question is, he's talking about the
Third article, right. No, not yet. When you speak about judges, the reason why taxes appears to be there is because you may not believe it, but if you're my boss, I can't judge you. You understand? Let me say that again. If I pay your salary and you work for me, how can you judge me? So there are judges in this country that are on salary based on the tax. And there are judges in this country that are not on salary based on the Federal Reserve. You understand? Third article judges in the first book that I gave you, all that blue one, if you read it, you'll find out they say a third article judge is called in when a habeas corpus is written up, which is referred to as a writ. That means when the court went into session and everything that was supposed to be said and done was supposed to be done in order, and that's why there's a gavel there. Now a judge has a gavel sitting up on his desk. That's like the whistle on the tennis court. He goes, and the game starts. You with me?
Yes, sir.
That judge goes, bam! Court is now in session. In other words, let the game go. That's what a court is. A court is a place where games are played. And only people who are smart enough to become umpires or refs know the real rules of the game. The person that walks up, how many of y'all people bowl? How many of y'all people went bowling the first time with a relative and just started throwing the ball all down in the gutter, every place, and a couple of times had the nerve to get strikes?
Yeah.
But then, when someone said to you, whoa, that's not how you're supposed to bowl. You're supposed to put 3 fingers in, hold it around over here, see them dots over there, take 3 steps, get your foot balanced, and hold, don't let the ball swing, it's gonna go into New York, or go, ready? And well, and they gave you up, by the time they gave you all that stuff, you couldn't get the ball down the lane. You was pulling balls, going backwards and stuff, right? The person who knows the game is the person who's umpiring the game. You understand? The guy who's sitting on the side of the tennis court like this, watching what's happening, he knows the rules and regulations of the game. And if you have any sense at all, before you get on the tennis court, you'd become a judge. Why would you become a judge? Because you know what they feel. You know what they're thinking. You know when they're going to make a call. You know when the player intimidates them and gets them mad. Do you know anytime you walk into a court in this country without a suit and a tie on, you have already violated the law? There is a law that you come to the court or the game in tennis shorts? Did you know that?
Yes, sir.
That you're supposed to wear a dark suit, a white shirt, and a striped white and blue tie when you go to court? That's the law of the court. So when you go in there thinking that you're doing something by going there doing your thing, you start off with a mark against you because you are out of uniform for a court proceedings. And the judge usually looks at you and basically says that. He just goes, you know what I'm saying? And then you look like, then you say to your man, oh man, we ain't got a chance. Like it's his fault. Man, we ain't got a chance. Yeah. Then you got the fool who thinks he's a Freemason, and somebody done told him some silly rituals. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's walking down and he does like this. And the judge was thinking about giving him 1 year. He did this. He just said, 3 years. The judge thought you were trying to tell him something. There's a system, and we are on the outside of that system. And this is why we keep blaming everybody for everything that happens to us. Because we're on the outside, we won't get involved. I'm not telling you to become no politician. I don't care what party you vote for, Democrat, Republic, is your business. But know the law that you live under. So you know your rights. that principle. But we as Native Americans, indigenous people of this land, whether you call yourself a Nubian, a Hebrew, a Muslim, all those are religious, nice, click names. When you go down to your nationality, you follow? It is important for you to investigate every time that word is used. If they say morenos, negra, whatever term they use when they was writing that record, you should be studying that because it applies to you. And you'll find out that most of the things that happen to you, you let happen because you don't know the law. You follow what I'm saying? So you are entitled to a third article judge if you acknowledge yourself as not a 13 but a 14th Amendment person. If you're a 13th Amendment person, you keep using the 13th Amendment gave me my rights. The rights you're talking about is the Emancipation Proclamation for the freeing of slaves. Hello?
Hello.
No Slavics in here. No slaves. So the 13th Amendment does not apply to you. Abraham Lincoln was under pressure. That's why he signed it from foreign governments that was going to attack him because of their Moors, because of the Malians that was in the country that were not supposed to be taken into bondage. And if you read the documents, you'll find those articles, they had a group of people called the Watchmen. The Watchmen broke off from the police department. Sound familiar? What does it sound like? A new paramilitary group that breaks away from the police department, it does their own law?
Militia.
Not militia. Militia, believe it or not, is legal. And I'll talk to you about it if you bring it up again. Huh? Red Dogs. These new, SWAT.
SWAT team. Red Dog. Yeah.
Listen,
The police watching.
I'm going to name something.
Not
All right? What is alcohol? An intoxicant substance or a medicine used for cure, a ether substance, right? Okay. A, T, F. What does that abbreviate?
Alcohol, tobacco, and firearms.
All right. Why, if there's a hold-up at a convenience store, is the ATF there? Are they there to count the amount of alcohol that's being stolen? Are they there because someone got a firearm, in fact, when it's legal? Why are they there? Because they are a paramilitary group. Put up a fake society that goes off and does things that the government can apologize for. Like Waco. They say, oh, wow. I don't know if y'all went into it. They said, oh, we got misinformation. We heard, go ahead and burn the place up. And someone said, go ahead and go home. Forget it. But we didn't hear that. So they went in and burned. You know that Janet Reno was saying we didn't hear that? She sent the word down to burn the people up when the word was really go home, forget it. It was just a religious group. And like I said last night, if they're a religious group, they're separate from state. So David Koresh can call himself anything he wants. He can call himself an ice cream sandwich. That is his prerogative if he's a religious person. It's only when it has nothing to do with state. So these groups are set up to try to cause chaos, to intimidate. But if you recognize or fall under that 13th Amendment or under their laws, then you are subject to that abuse. If not, you fall under a group of people called Moors, French Moor, Morenos. You follow that? This is being used simply because it's on paper. It's on treaties. It's on documents. Morocco, Mauritania, the French version of it and the Latin word of it. You follow? What else? Yes, brother. Please stand up, so I can hear you. Of the Constitution? It's finished. It's just that we had so many books trying to get out this year for y'all that the one, let's set the record straight, make that your first Bible. I don't mean in a religious kind of sense. Want to pass that book up? Read this book and really get into what I'm saying. And go back and read that blue book and Constitution and study it the way you study books that you like when you want to go out and bust people up and look heavy. Is there a book? This book here is another level of information for you.
Yes, it is.
You follow? It gives you the documents. It talks about the Watchmen, who put that society together. And what the watch, I was going down that road and got sidetracked. What, under the name Sears and Roebuck, believe it or not, created a catalog to sell people. With me? Sears and Roebuck's catalog, I want to repeat it. Sears and Roebuck, here you go, brother, had a catalog to sell people. Now, they had to put a group of men together that was going around kidnapping stray morenos and mixing them in with the negra that was already in captivity. The ones that came from Africa, they were calling negra. The ones that mixed with the Africans and the Moors became known as negra morenos or morenos negra, or with the Moorish Science Temple says it's black or more. If you read, you hear that. It's saying black twice. That's any mixture. You follow that? And then you had the Moors. Now, in the petitions, and you read in that book, it says no mulattoes are allowed. Whenever you hear the word mulatto, step back because Arabs are involved, because mulatto is an Arabic word, moled. It deals with the word for birth. You understand? And when the petition was made with George Washington for Moors who were navigators at the time, just not all of them were navigators, those Moors that were navigators, to come here to circle America with a fleet, this is in the book, research it, they said don't send any mulattoes, meaning we don't want to get the light-skinned Moors mixed up with the dark-skinned Moors. You follow? So the Moroccans you see today were not coming. Only, and I have a picture of the military in there, and you'll see them in London, in France marching, the whole fleet that came. They're in there. You follow? But because they look like the Malians who had sailed here, Mansa Musa and them before, they look the same, just like in this room. If I go to Trinidad, or you go to Trinidad, or you go to Jamaica, or you go to Puerto Rico, you can blend right in, you know. The only thing that might distinguish you is you might start speaking Spanish or not speaking Spanish, the person say, well, where you from? You follow what I'm saying? This is done. Or any person who's from Puerto Rico could go to Morocco and blend right in, and somebody starts speaking to them in Arabic, and they'll go, don't speak Arabic, and they go, where you from? And they say, I'm from, Cuba or Mexico. And they'll go, oh. They won't know. It was a melting pot. This was convenient when selling people became profitable. You follow? And I ran out of fresh produce, meaning I started getting deformed slaves who were being battered and beaten in the passageway from Africa here. You see, they were deformed, broken arms, broken limbs, sick. Now, when you go into a vegetable store and you want to pick out tomatoes, do you reach for the bad tomatoes or the good ones? Good ones. Usually now, this is amazing, if you go into a large store, they have the good tomatoes here and the bad ones right here. They have different grades of tomatoes. These are the ones that are a little soft for y'all who want to spend a little bit of money, and these are good tomatoes. And you can reach in the bad ones every now and then and go, well, shoot. Here's a good tomato, and think you did something. Well, what happened is, when through the passage and the abuse, many of the slaves were deformed or beat up mainly. I shouldn't use the word slave. Many of those kidnappees were abused. What they do? The watchmen were sent out as watchmen, and they watched the Moors at any gathering you had. And they saw you had nobility. You walked around with your fez on. This here one, you wore the tarbush to all noble events. You wore the fez daily. You follow that? And usually in the crimson color. And they would go there, and they would see the ones with Armac or what they refer to as Malian or Uganda or Timbuktu features, and they go, you, and they're writing this down for their catalog. And what would they do then is kidnap you, take away everything from you, and put you amongst the slaves, imprison you, abuse you to a point, not to the point of damage, and then put you on the slave block. I have to use slave block here because that's what they called it. And sold you. And then what happened is it became mixed up. And this is why if you look around, you see every kind of feature that you can think of. There's nobody here who come from this part of Africa, in this island, in this spot. You don't know. If you look at people from Puerto Rico and you say, who is a Puerto Rican? Would a real Puerto Rican stand up? Or everybody would stand up, and we're not talking about skin color, we're not talking about hair texture, we're talking about nose shape, lip shape, eye shape, cheekbone, chin shape, forehead shape. They all could be the same color. You can put people in an environment long enough, everybody will become the same color. But the characteristics are different. And that tells you that different tribes have been mixing together. If you go to Africa, you go into Sudan, you don't see one, so why, if everybody there is Sudanese, then everybody should look the same. Why does everybody look different? Why is all these different features, different hair textures? Because of the melting. So they knew that. So they was able to mix the slaves and mix the kidnappees and mix the, the slaves and the migrants who came on their own. That's why there's a 13th and 14th Amendment citizen. You understand me? And 14th Amendment citizens have a second type of citizenship. They came here and they're really sovereign people. And they just got taken and mixed in. It doesn't mean that the people of Africa don't have no rights. They also have their rights because they came here before anybody came here. They walked across here before there was continental drift. They just came from Uganda and settled here and became known as Almacs, because Almac means rubber people, and they brought the tree, the plant of rubber, because they use it in their rituals. Huh? You did. So now you light-skinned, you're wavy-haired, you're curly-haired, you're long nose, you're wide nose, you're dark-skinned, and you're divided against yourself. If in your soul, in your spirit, there's a desire to become conscious, then the outer manifestation of your appearance has nothing whatsoever to do with it. Because when I played drums last night, I'm looking at people darker than me with no rhythm. Walk up on that stage with no rhythm. And they got the nerve to say, white people ain't got no soul. I'm like, homeboy here, you know what I'm saying? He's you know, bordering on match moose. He's not even black no more. This nigga is bow-lass. And he can't play the drum. And then some other guy comes up here who's light-skinned, with straight hair, you understand? And gets on the drum. And all of y'all are going, all right. Why are you saying all right? Because you was looking at the brother who's light-skinned to get up there and not have a rhythm, and the brother was dark-skinned to get up there and have a rhythm, but genes played a trick on you. It don't mean a damn thing anymore. It's over. So cut the crap and form your own nation where you control the things that happen to you. You have that right. If they want to go religious, you say you have that God-given right that makes them feel better. Now we always have to ask, whose God are they talking about? They got so many of them. You understand? Yes.
Yes, my question is, how do you handle police brutality or because a policeman is regard to prostitution?
Okay. First of all and foremost, once you set up your own, once you become a part of an indigenous nation, they have what's called an Interpol. That's called the International Police Department. That's the only ones that can touch you. However, if you violate a federal law, then you go into international jurisdiction. And let me tell you how ugly that could get. You could join in the United Nuwaupu Nation of Moors and then go out and sell drugs. If you get busted, instead of you going to prison and doing time, you go into a place where people have no nationality, and you spend the rest of your life there. Because no country will claim you, so you can't be judged, and you can't be judged without a nationality, because you have to have rights to have a nationality. And remember, they ask you, what? Do you know your rights? How do you know they say that? Because they say you have the right to remain silent. When they make that statement, they're assuming that you know your rights, something you didn't study. But they say you have the right to remain silent. You go, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford one, court will supply you with one. Dangerons, and we must drink mineral water, or we might catch a number of diseases. Because you know that, right? How much is that?
A lot.
Then we got to get tour buses to take us to the pyramids and pay them. You with me?
Hey.
So now we want to touch base with Egypt, but when I get into Egypt, because I'm not a Muslim any longer, I got to worry about Muslims saying, we don't want y'all here, because you know they tried to kill Dr. Ben, you know. The Muslims tried to kill Dr. Ben. They had to cancel their trip to Egypt. That's why we cancel ours, because they don't want you coming over there to visit the pyramids, because it predates their belief. You follow that? And because of that, they don't want you there. And anybody that advocates it, they think it's justified. They think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them it's all right to kill anybody who don't believe what they believe. They're making Allah a party to their weaknesses. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is al-aliyu. He's al-alimu. He knows everything, and he's above all things. He don't need you going out killing people for him. He makes rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. No doubt about it. I'm saying that if a Muslim was a Muslim and understood the terminology Allahu Akbar, the takbir, Allahu Akbar, Allah is the biggest, the most boundless, or the greatest. What? Right. You know how silly it is for Nusir to go kill somebody? To think that he has the kind of relationship with Allah, that Allah put him in his confidence and said, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go kill this rabbi because he causes too much trouble. Do you know what you're doing? You're making Allah look like he doesn't have the power to do it. And Allah can do... You understand what I'm saying? So you got people that get trained in their spirit and their soul to hurt people like me. Because I can't do that, so I said, heck, I promised y'all that I was going to take y'all to Egypt, right? And I know it could be dangerous, so I took Egypt to y'all. That's all. I don't know if there's anything wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if anything is wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
But, no, I'm saying that for a reason. But it can cause me to violate the law. That's why I said unintentionally. May not want to hurt nobody, but they try to hurt your family. They try to take your stuff. I'm not telling you by saying don't violate the law, I'm not telling you become no chump. Defend yours. That's what the Constitution tells you. And if you're not satisfied, you raise up and form your own militia, but it must be well regulated. Don't get no bunch of kooks putting on no uniform, running around with no AK-47s and blowing up innocent people. That is not the way to do it. There is a way to get your point across, and it's by the mind, not by weapon and death. It's by love. It's by concern. It's by compassion. Something has been strained out of us when they were shaking the spaghetti. We think it's cool to be uncompassionate. We think it's cool to be tough and uncaring and unconcerned about the children and the women in the future. And that's not real. Love really does conquer all.